I know how your day must have started. You got out of bed, you brush your teeth, you had a cup of coffee, started to get ready for a day of work or school. And at one point, thought, I wonder what Brian Farber's thoughts are on the early 90s children's cartoon, Hammerman. Well, look no further than right here. I'm here to tell you about Hammerman. And my little knowledge going into my viewing of Hammerman and thoughts thereafter. So, I was aware of Hammerman when I was a kid. For those of you that don't know, the show was a cartoon. I believe it was on Saturday mornings, and it featured the voice of former massive hip-hop rap artist MC Hammer. I'm sure most of you kids nowadays will have no idea who that is. But he had a pretty big song, Can't Touch This, back in the early 90s. And decided at one point that the next logical step for him was to venture into the world of children's programming. Hence, Hammerman was born. This is all I knew about Hammerman up until very recently, when I decided to watch an episode of the show, which I believe was called Defeated Graffiti. Now, in case you're wondering, what's the show about? Well, luckily, MC Hammer is here to tell you the entire backstory in the theme song of the show, in which he describes how some older gentleman, who I think might have been his grandfather, needed somebody to get out in public and be sort of like a superhero of sorts. So he gave these magical shoes, the old man did, to this guy Stanley, voiced by MC Hammer. And the shoes give him superpowers whenever he wears them. That's it. The theme song describes all of this in some detail. The rhymes are all over the place. In most cases, one sentence does not rhyme with the next, but this eventually leads into the show. In this episode, I guess he had to stop someone from vandalizing his town or something. There's also a subplot involving a girl who likes him and somebody else who kind of reminds me of like Carlton from Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, who's trying to get him to take tuba lessons. I know it doesn't make much sense, but the episode does start with MC Hammer, a live action version of him sitting on some steps talking to a bunch of kids about why graffiti is bad. This leads into the show, in which we then see Hammerman in action saving a woman from a fire. After this has been completed, he takes the shoes off and turns back into Stanley. Look, I'm sure there is some benefit to kids watching this. Maybe you'll learn something. But don't be distracted by this, because the animation is horrendous. It's very jerky, very hard to watch. I couldn't tell if his grandfather or the old guy was supposed to be James Brown. He kind of reminded me of James Brown, so I don't know. Could have been James Brown, maybe not. Doesn't matter. The shoes, however, do have eyes and a mouth, and talk to Stanley, which is, very fitting for any great 90s kids program. I don't know. Is it worth a watch? No. This episode that I saw is on YouTube along with several others. Turn it on if you want. I guess more so out of curiosity, but like I said, MC Hammer, like the show itself, is extremely outdated. It's been out of the pop culture mainstream for a long time. So there's really no reason to watch this show. And I realize now this review probably wasted your time. So, sorry. On with your day.